All right, good morning, y'all. It's like 10 a.m. right now, and I'm just kind of sitting here, so I figured I'd drop some free game. Today, I'm going to be showing y'all how I got a hold of this thing right here at 19 years old with not a whole lot of money. I'm not rich by any means. I am a regular 19-year-old thousandaire, straight from the Midwest. Ain't nothing special about me. And I just kind of want to walk y'all through building your credit and achieving those credit cards and deals and advantages that you may not have yet, that you may be, aspiring to acquire. Because I know, this is where I wanted to be, and it's crazy to think about. Because literally just a year or two ago, the point I'm at now is the point I was wishing for. Like, I remember back then, when I first started developing credit, being like, oh man, I can't wait to get to this point. I can't wait until I got my Amex Gold and all that. Like, I thought it was gonna be so much harder to achieve. I thought I was gonna have to make a certain amount of money to get it. But, just over the course of a year or two, I've realized how easy it really is. Yeah, it was honestly a really easy process. You just can't overthink it too much. Like, it only took me a year's worth of building credit to achieve what I have now. I have 4,000 credit cards. 4,000. I got 4 credit cards. My bad. I got 4 credit cards. And across all 4 of them, I believe it's somewhere above $10,000 in total of my spending limit. That's not factoring in the Amex, because those technically do not have spending limits on them. But across the other 3, I do have over $10,000 of a limit, and that kind of segues into the first point I want to make, which is do not max out your cards and do not get anywhere close to that limit. Most people are going to tell you to get up to like 30%, try not to exceed 30%. I'm going to tell you, try to stay under 10. The lower your usage is, the better. You don't want to not use the card at all, but you want to keep your usage extremely low. You want to show them that you're reliable and you're not going to spend super high amounts of money. So you want to keep your usage at like 10% or lower. Honestly, in most cases, if possible, I'm going to say maybe 5, but you could shoot for higher ones if you like to try and take advantage of the perks, like, points and stuff that you may get through the credit cards you use, or cash back and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff is important to take advantage of, because at the end of the day, that's kind of what credit cards are there for. Other than the idea of simply building your credit score, they're also there to take advantage of when it comes to these benefits that you get. It's really important to make sure that you know what credit card you're getting and what it's good for. You don't just want to get something because you see other people got it. You don't just want to get a credit card because it's metal, because it's heavy, because it looks cool, because it makes you look like you got money. You don't want to do that. You want to get the credit cards that align with your lifestyle and credit cards that work for you. I qualified for the Amex Platinum, but I am not a heavy traveler. I don't fly often. I've only flown twice in my life. I don't travel often right now. It's just not something that I'm doing at the moment. And I knew that, and I was also aware that credit card has an annual fee of over $750. And I know good and well, even if I did fly this year, I would not be able to get the $750 or more of value out of that card, so I didn't get it. You only want to get things that you know you're going to use and things that you know are going to be good for you, while keeping that usage low. Another thing is making sure you got multiple lines of credit. A lot of people are so afraid of credit cards because you got a lot of people within their circle who get into credit card debt, and the first thing they want to tell you is don't get a credit card, or don't get a lot of credit cards. Credit is scary, whoop-de-woo, whatever that may be. Credit is great. You want to have a lot of credit cards. Obviously not an overwhelming amount, not an unnecessary amount, but you do want to have a good lineup, because having extra lines of credit and diversified credit is how you drive that score up. If you got multiple credit cards along with installments, whether that be you're paying off a loan, a car note, whatever it is, that's good, because it shows banks or whatever, or whatever you're presenting your credit to, it shows them that you know how to stay on top of your stuff. If you paying everything on time, you paying your your car note and you paying off your credit cards on time and you got all these different lines of credit, it makes it a lot more reliable, because it's a lot easier to tackle one payment as opposed to tackling 5 payments. So, you know, when you have that diversity and when you have all these different things that you have to pay off and you're still doing a good job staying on top of it, that's what they like. That's what people like to see when you're applying for a loan of some sort, for a car, for a house, for an apartment, whatever it may be. It's important to have multiple lines of credit, because that will also be a big factor in driving your score up. And then, of course, probably the most important thing is just making sure that you pay everything off on time. You know, a lot of people, they like to say to pay things off, you know, on time, pay the minimum payment, whatever. No, you want to pay it off on time and in full. Always make sure that you pay it off in full. I've heard people say just make the minimum payments on it, and you'll be good. No, you want to pay it off in full, because what happens is when you pay off the credit card 2 days after, I believe that's when you get your statement, or when you get your when they take the balance that's on your card and apply it in comparison to the limit, and that kind of gives you your percentage of your usage. So if you know, for example, if you owe like $200 and you got like a $30 minimum payment or something, and you pay off the $30, you got $170 left still on that card. So then 2 days after you pay for the card, your usage is at $175 out of let's say a $1,000 limit. So your usage percentage is going to be higher, because you still have $170 out of $1,000 being spent. Whereas if you just paid it off in full, you would have $0 out of $1,000 spent, or, you know, whatever the case may be, because it kind of staggers based on pay periods and stuff. So if you pay off your current statement balance in full, you're probably going to have some money left over on the card. But at the end of the day, as long as you pay off that statement in full, you're going to be driving down that usage, and that's what's extremely important. Keeping that usage low. That's like top 3 most important things that you have to do when it comes to using credit cards and building your credit. You have to make sure you stay on top of that. You can't slack. You can't spend money you don't have, which is also extremely important. Everybody tells you that, but it's really true. If you don't have the money sitting in your checking account, do not expect to get it. Do not expect it to come in. Just spend what you got on that credit card. If you don't have it in your bank account, don't put it on your credit card, because you're not going to be able to pay it off. And like I said before, even if you're short, if you're short on cash, that doesn't mean you just make the minimum payment, because it's going to kill you in the long run. Having good credit really does it saves money, and it makes your life easier, because then when you go to apply for loans and things like that, you get approved for things much easier. You get approved for loans, like car loans with 0 down, or with really low cash amounts down on the car. You don't have to put cash down if you don't want to, or if you can't, if your credit is good enough. And you also get really low interest rates. And of course, that's like one of the most important things when it comes to paying off anything. If you've got a house or a car, if you get low interest rates, that's what's extremely important, because that's what could really drive up the price of your car. You know, you don't want to go to get a nice car you've been eyeing on for a really long time, and then you got like a 15-20% APR. Like, that's ridiculous, because if the car is even if the car is like $20K, a 15 to 20% APR is going to bring up your monthly payment by like hundreds of dollars, like a really significant amount. And that alone can really dictate whether the car you want is within your budget or not. So if you just have decent credit and there's no reason for them to tell you no and give you a bad rate, then you're good. You know, you can get like a 10% or less APR, sometimes a little bit higher in some people's cases, but if your credit is good enough, you can get it lower than 10% of an APR. And next thing you know, you've got a $300 car payment on a pretty nice car, you know? Like, it makes a big difference. It really does. And then another thing that's also important is I touched on it before, like taking advantage of those perks, like the cash back and all that stuff. But it really is important to make sure that you're paying attention, because with some of these cards, the advantages as far as the cash back boost percentages do change quarter to quarter, month to month, whatever it may be. They do change sometimes. Some of them are very consistent across the board, but other cards do have specials where quarterly throughout the year they will change what will give you a higher return on as far as cash back. And once again, that'll save you money if you take advantage of those things, because obviously with more cash back, that's more cash in your pocket solely just for using their card on the item that they selected for that quarter. So then you could use that cash back for whatever you want. You could stack up that cash back and you could buy something you've been really wanting. You know, you can just save until the cash back builds up to a certain dollar amount for whatever it is that you're trying to get. Or if you're having a bad month, simply take that cash back and apply it to your credit card payment, and boom, you got $30, $40, $50, $100 off of your monthly statement, because you've been working on making sure that you're swiping your card on things that are going to give you a higher percentage. So then in the long run, it's going to benefit you, so you can save some money when you've got a payment due. It's just kind of like a thank you from them to you for just simply using their card and using it on the things that they intended you to, or the things that they wanted you to use it on. But I mean, that's really it. The thing with credit is it's super simple, but there's just things, there's the little things that a lot of people are not aware of, and there's like common misconceptions that go around, and lies that people are constantly told by their parents that kind of shoot people in the foot. Like I had a friend tell me that his parents told him to just make the minimum payment on cards and stuff like that, when in reality that's not what you need to do, and it's not going to help you. It's going to hurt you. And using the card too much is also going to hurt you, because I remember when I first got my card, I thought that my usage had to be at like 20 to 30%. I was trying to push it up there as far as I could, and then I would stop there to try and maximize my cash back while also keeping my usage relatively low. But my credit score was not the best when I did that. And I realized that after I started doing more research on credit and listening to people who really had a good lineup of cards, and I realized that as long as you keep your usage extremely low, that's what's going to drive up that score, and that's what's going to get you what you want. And we all want to get what we want. So that's pretty much it. It ain't easy especially when you're young, you get handed thousands. It isn't easy when you get handed thousands of dollars, at your disposal to spend on virtually whatever you want with just a swipe of a card that you feel like you don't have to pay back. It is a big milestone, and you do have to practice a lot of self-control in order to be able to do that. But if you just realize that credit is not a toy, and it is something that you do have to pay back, and it is going to impact the way you live your life for the rest of your life, then you'll be good, as long as you just realize its importance and respect it for what it is, because it's not free money. It's just a tool. So that's pretty much it. Go build your credit, get that 700 plus credit score, get that car you want, and get that Amex.